Gymnastics is a demanding sport on the knees since gymnasts need to stick to dismounts, sometimes from an extreme height, not to mention their acrobatic skills on the floor, vault or balance beam. In this video, I'm going to show you some special knee preparation exercises that gymnasts use to avoid injuries and maintain knee health. As usual, let's start with the essentials. The knee joint is our biggest and most complex joint, where the femur, the patella and the tibia connect with complex structure of ligaments and connective tissues. The knee joint is a hinge joint capable of the following movements: flexion, extension, lateral rotation and medial rotation. To maintain knee health, the most important thing is to strengthen and stretch the muscles around the knee properly, including the extensor, flexor, adductor and abductor muscles of the thigh, as well as the calves. To avoid injuries, due to the characteristics of the knee joint, you need to stabilize it, doing strengthening and stabilizing exercises for the muscles I mentioned. In this process, the hip and ankle also have a key role. Unlike the knees, most people need to mobilize the hip and ankle since the stiffness of those joints limit the range of motion in different exercises. You can find dedicated videos on the channel about how to mobilize the hips and ankles if you need them. But now, let's focus on the knees and see what you need to do to make them stronger and more stable. Since gymnasts start to train at a young age, they have the right mobility to be able to do the basics right. So they don't have issues with doing squats because their ankles are not mobile enough. They just need to learn the movement and make the pattern stronger. Like this, doing the basics is not so challenging as for an adult who has limitations. They can do any squat variations without mobility issues. The essential basics are the following: regular squats, reverse lunges or step-ups. They are great for stabilizing the knees, and Cossack squats. We won't get into these in details. You can find dedicated videos about them on the channel. Now, I like to focus more on the specific gymnast exercises so you can learn something new. Let's start with some great explosive variations. As I mentioned, in gymnastics, it's really important to stick to every dismount. To improve this, you can do many variations, strengthening the legs, but let's see now some basic examples. Start in close stand and jump up as high as you can with raising your arms next to your ears, then stick to the landing with bent legs, bringing your arms in front of your body. The explosive jump and landing is a great stimulus to your muscles and will help to stabilize the knees. Do 5 to 10 reps jumping forward and backward. If you can do this with confidence, you can jump to a box and do the landings from there. Just make sure to raise the surface gradually because this load will be significantly harder than on the ground. If you're interested in more explosive exercises, check out my earlier videos about the top 5 typical gymnast leg exercises you never do. And now, let's move on to the real special gymnast exercises you might have never seen. You might have never heard about the following exercises. However, gymnasts have a history of doing thorough joint preparation. Sometimes they even go out from the usual range of motion and the regular joint angles to prepare them the best way possible. I already mentioned this on the wrist and elbow preparation videos, as well as the warm-up video where I told you about the movement body map, which means the following. The more movements, range of motions and joint angles you practice, the more body awareness you build, your nervous system will be improved, so these movements and angles will be uploaded to your movement body map that will be bigger and sharper. The more you practice them, the better you'll become, and thanks to this, you can minimize the risk of injuries in the unexpected situations. Gymnasts do this on a professional level. They spend enough time in the gym to test out what works best. It's important to know that the following exercises differ from the usual range of motion and joint angles, so if you have knee injury or you have pain, check with your physiotherapist before you jump into these. These exercises might look weird and unhealthy, but if you have healthy knees, you can just make them stronger and more resilient if you are consistent and do them properly. The first exercise is the knee circles that you can do with closed legs in one direction at a time or on half feet inward and outward. These are great to move around the knees out of the regular range. They improve stability and prepare your knees for the following exercises. The other great exercise to bulletproof your knees is the valgus squat, when your knees need to move inside. In the beginning, you can assist with your hands to keep better balance and start with a hip width straddle. Start small, then gradually go deeper. Later on, you can do it freestanding with a wider straddle. Do 5 to 15 reps according to your level. The pair of the valgus squat is the varus squat. Here, you need to squat with your knees moving out. Cross your legs with keeping your feet close to each other and squat down with rolling on the side of your feet. Again, start small with support and increase the load gradually until you can sit down. In this exercise, you'll experience that in the first few reps it's hard to balance, then as you go with the reps, it gets easier. That's because of the proprioceptive receptors in your joint tissues are sending signals to your brain, helping to stabilize your movement. This is one of the points of these exercises and the movement body map I mentioned. Do 5 to 15 reps as well with both leg positions. On the advanced level, you can connect the two positions with a 360-degree turn, which will be even more challenging but fun at the same time. You can also do 5 to 15 reps of this. If you want to connect the valgus and varus squats, you can do it with stepping to the side. In the middle, you can always do the valgus squat and do the varus squats on the side with both leg positions. Do 5 to 15 reps as well. The last exercise is the sissy squat, where you need to squat down, elevating to half feet, moving your knees forward and lean back with your upper body. This exercise puts a great load on your quads and works the hamstrings and glutes as well. I don't even need to mention that the knees are under extreme load here, so increase the range carefully. First, do it in smaller range of motion, then do half range of motion until you get to the full execution. Focus on the form and assist with your hands if you need for balance. Do 5 to 10 reps on your level. Besides the strengthening exercises, it's also important to stretch the muscles to avoid knee pain. To stretch the quads, this exercise is a great choice since it will stretch the hip flexors too, which is another tight area. Look for a wall or elevated surface where you can support with your leg and place the other one in front. Your hips need to look forward with posterior pelvic tilt. Stretch the quads and hip flexors with gradually changing your body position. Aim for a good 30 to 60 second stretch. If you want to stretch the hamstrings, the Jefferson curl is a good one, or you can do the PNF stretch that I showed you in my previous video about hip mobility. Besides these, you should stretch the calves too, which goes along with mobilizing the ankle. You can learn more about that in my video about ankle preparation. So to summarize, if you want to have stable and strong knees, it's important to have the basics. Do regular squats, reverse lunges, step-ups and Cossack squats. If you want to get into the explosive gymnastics exercises, do jump-ups and landings along with the other exercises. If you want to truly bulletproof your knees, do the special out of the normal range exercises, the knee circles, valgus and varus squats and sissy squats. And finally, don't forget to stretch, for which you can learn more tips from my 3 recommended stretching methods video. If you want to learn more about gymnastics training, you want to have a shredded physique like gymnasts have, get started with the plans that include all joint preparation exercises, programs and routines done by thousands of people worldwide. Download the Gymnastics Method app in the App Store or Google Play Store, become a member and get full access. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. If you haven't watched the videos I mentioned, check them out on the screen now.